where does this start? Where does this history start? I was reading really banal books on the history of archaeology in Palestine, archaeological surveys, and nobody's read in 60 years. I found out that actually the birth of glassblowing is in Palestine. It's because of this amazing river called the Nahr al-Belus, or in English, the Belus River, in Arabic, Nahr al-Namin, where Roman historians write about it as this magical river where water flows on one end of the river and flows out as a river of glass on the other side. This is an image of that river today, which sadly is highly polluted, because on the left you can see the map of where the river is, but it's right next door to a massive weapons factory called Rafael Systems, where the Iron Dome is made, where a lot of the missiles are made that are now being used against Gaza and Lebanon. And so this magical river, it's a birthplace of glassblowing, is now highly polluted and has, because of the pollution in the area, the region like Haifa and Akka have one of the highest cancer rates in the world, not just because of the weapons factory, but also because of cosmetic factories next door, and all sorts of other factories in the area. It's a highly industrial area, and it used to be one of the most kind of spiritual centers in the history of Palestine before the occupation, before the British Mandate, very much so during the Roman Empire. The history of it is kind of amazing also because this is where, according to my research, women would go heal their ailments because of the rich sand, the rich minerals in the river. They would cleanse their menstrual cycles. It's a gathering space and it's a healing center. And so it became a kind of body of water that was associated with the female body and associated with healing. The reason we know that this is, why I say it's the birthplace of glass is because, and I won't talk too much about the research relationship to the practice here, but really I thought it would be important also to respond to Chris Ruman's conversation about the relationship to archaeology and glass and the relationship of also architecture to the history of glass. The importance of this river is because of archaeologists finding, through excavations around the bed of the river, hundreds and hundreds of remains of mud brick artifacts that have glass glazing on top of them. And it turns out that these are remains from glass furnaces that were built around the river, because the sand of the river was so rich in minerals and silica, and it was coarse enough, and the shrubs around the river were used also to create ash from the plants to help with glass making process. And so these furnaces were built right next to the river, and they're made out of mud brick, which is, from the soil itself. And then the sand would be placed inside these furnaces, and they would fire it and melt the sand into glass slabs. And then the mud brick would then be broken down to access the glass slab. And the glass slab was then kind of broken into smaller cubes, raw glass. And the raw glass was then distributed to Lebanon, to Saida, to Cairo, in Egypt, to different parts of Palestine, where glass blowers were making all sorts of different types of vessels that also relate so much to the history of the river as well, because the use of the river as a healing center can kind of be followed through with the making of these vessels that were also healing vessels, right? Like the perfume vessels, cosmetic vessels, purification vessels, like rosewater vessels that were sprinkled on different bodies for cleansing rituals. So the relationship of where glass comes from, the sand itself, to the glass use afterwards is incredibly linked to the Palestinian body and to the Palestinian land.
Thanks for checking out this GEEX Shorts episode. This is just one of 10 chapters featuring the speaker's artwork, artistic practice, and direct conversations with the community. The full-length video, only publicly available for a limited time, can be found in the GEEX Talks subscriber archive, where you can also discover hours of content on even more contemporary glass artists and researchers. As a BIPOC and artist-led organization, GEEX redefines the culture of contemporary glass by canonizing artists and thinkers who have been historically marginalized in the field. If you'd like to support this effort, subscribe to GEEX and gain access to exclusive content. For more info, visit geeks.glass/support.